already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama, maybe hide from your baby mama. Just kidding. But anyways, fans, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. And today we have two special guests. My boy Hami Rain used to be my co-host. Check him out at his Full Court podcast. And my other homie, I had to bring her back, Chino, from his podcast. Let's talk about you. What's up, squad?
What up? What up?
Oh, this is great. Thank you so much for having me. Now, I just want to get something clear here. You did a great job introducing his podcast. You got everything right, but you didn't get mine quite right.
I think he's try, right?
You want to try? What's that? Yeah, it's full. It's full court. It's not half court. It's not four court. It's full court. The full court, not full court podcast. The full court trap. The full court trap is a basketball term.
My bad, fam. My bad. It's just too long. You know, I try to put some cream in the, you know what I'm saying? Extra cream.
We're going to send you an invoice. You'll be fined $6. Just send it by at the end of the week, all right?
I got you, bro. Cha-ching. That's it. But real quick, y'all, I want to share a story for those who don't know. So me and Hami, we go way back, but I want to share the first time we ever met. I don't think everybody knows that. So pretty much we went to this big DePaul. It was like a career service /
it wasn't that big, but yeah, it was kind of big. It was a job fair. It was
job
a career fair.
There you go. Career fair. There you go. I was trying to get the word. And so I get there looking fresh, and Natalie Martinez from NBC, she's the one that actually got me connected to this. And I went through, I was probably the only one from Northeastern going to this event. And you see all the famous like Erika Pino from Univision, like big people. So it was really cool. And at the very end, I'm chilling, eating my pizza, and the guy next to me was Hami. And I was, hey man, so how you think you did? He goes, man, I got a couple, I pass on a couple resumes. I'm like, all right, cool, man, And we kind of started our conversation right there. And I felt like I told him about my YouTube series, and then he was talking about him being on the radio station for DePaul, which I thought was awesome. And I was like, man, dude, we should get together. We should click. And that's actually how we first met. I would say back in 2012 or 13. What do you think, Hami?
You said 2012 or 13?
Yeah, or am I going too back?
Going way back. That's like I wasn't even in college at that point. I mean, I was just barely a freshman in college by that point, maybe.
David, you got to remember, man, he lives in Vegas, so he has no concept of time anymore.
That's true. I do got the time stone.
It's like dog years.
Oh man.
It was 2017, I believe. 17.
Damn.
So you're about 5 years off.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. My credibility got lost.
It was early 2017 or early 2018. I could not remember. It was early part of the year because it was cold. It was like January, February, right? Or maybe it was November, December. It was cold though. I remember that.
It was cold. Yeah. Wait, so Hami, what was your first impression when you first met me?
Well, when I first met you, I had a lot of other things on my mind in terms of stress and anxieties about, am I going to hear back from anyone? And I actually didn't have to worry about that because I heard from no one after that day. So I didn't have to worry about hearing back from, am I going to get a job or whatever today? So, I remember sitting next to him. I was like, this is a very nice guy, nice gentleman. And I remember we were talking about how we were going to, connect and stuff like that. And I remember thinking at that time, it's like, yeah, it's never going to happen. People say that all the time. They exchange phone numbers and stuff like that. It never happens, right? Like it happens to me all the time. Now I've gotten to the point where I give my numbers out now. I don't even want the pressure of being like, hey, I'll text you. I'll give them my number, so I don't have to worry about I should text them even though I might not or whatever. I remember thinking, very nice guy. Seeing your YouTube series, I remember I just got a little glance of it. And I was like, this is really interesting. Maybe we can work something together. But it did not turn into this. I didn't think it turned into this,
That's true, man. That's true. Well, today's topic, as you guys know, my fans out there, the topic is how to start a podcast. So I want to hit it off with Chino. I want you to give your perspective first on like how you started and like what inspired you to get it together in your journey, your experience happening.
I think for me, and I think I've already explained the story once on we did an episode together like a long time ago. Kind of like Hami, man. I was doing radio in college. There was just one year in my senior year in college that I was just looking for something to do in between classes. I had like a 4-hour gap, and I saw one of the posters in like the common area, saying that they're trying to get new shows on the radio on ITT radio, right? IIT radio, my bad. And so they'll I just took the little piece of paper and it said, send in your ideas and stuff. So I said, okay, well, I was like, well, that sounds like something I want to do. So I did it. And I just, I sent them an email saying, hey, I'm interested. Let me present a show to you. And the show I had was called Let's Talk About It, right? Instead of Let's Talk About You. And the topic was just, just kind of like, you guys ever seen Philip DeFranco?
No, I haven't seen it.
On YouTube. Yeah, it was kind of like a news channel, right? Just like whatever was popping that week, some stuff that happened that week, and we'll just talk about it, right? And it was just, things from a lot of fun stuff to a lot of serious stuff, and just a mix of everything. It was just once a week, and I had a lot of fun doing it, man. And I graduated college in 2018, and then sometime last year during the pandemic, when things got boring, I kind of had the itch to do it again, right? So I was like, I'm thinking of starting my podcast. And then I saw David's, posting podcasts all the time with Hami. And that was just like, I think you had just started yours, right? You were like on episode 3. And I was like, damn, maybe I'll get it started too. I think that you kind of like inspired me. You pushed me a little bit to get it going, So I was like, what? I think that would be a cool idea to get this back. But I wanted mine to be pure audio. Like, I like that idea of going old school, like listening to a radio station or going to, listening to true like old school podcasts where it was just pure audio. You have to imagine it today. I think one of the things that people like today is they love YouTube podcasts, right? And I don't blame anyone, but I think that's how we are with society. We need to visualize things, and it's so hard for people to do it nowadays that they actually need to see it. Like you look at little kids, you be handing them their cell phones just to, keep them occupied. They were kind of, as adults, we're the same way. So I think that's what made it a little difficult on my end. Mine is a pure audio podcast. And so if someone truly wanted to listen, they would actually have to take the time to stop what they're doing and listen to the show. And I think that's where it gets tricky. But yeah, that's what, got me into it. And I just changed it to Let's Talk About You to tell other people's stories. And yeah, that's just how I got it going.
Well, actually, it's more about that. Then they need to just stop and find it. They just need to find it on whatever thing they use, Spotify or whatever the hell they use, Google Podcasts. Just find it. Because I was telling David this too, I think around when we started, because we started back in April 2020, May, June, like that. Visual podcast medium where people are just chilling in a room, and like shows like The Shop, LeBron show on HBO. Right. That's very popular now. They got like this whole thing.
Joe Budden podcast.
Like I want to people. Yeah, people are like, I have a podcast. You should watch it. I'm like, well, I mean, you listen to a pod. You don't watch a pod. You listen to it. I mean, like right. I never got that with like the visual thing. Now, when I was in college, my last year in college at DePaul, 2017, 18, around that time, that started to become really popular. Like all the other students would be posting like a live Facebook Live. They'd be doing it through Facebook Live too, or Instagram Live of them like presently in the room with the shitty sound quality or whatever, because they're not using the proper, they're not using microphones for the Instagram Live or whatever, So I remember looking at that and I was like, man, I kind of don't want to do that. I'd rather just have a visual, an audio medium, just stick to audio, because it makes it easier. And also because of the show that I was doing, I wanted to do, so since I was a kid, watching, like Conan O'Brien and stuff like that, I wanted to host a late night show. Oh, that was like a dream of mine. Who doesn't want to do that? It's the greatest thing ever. So I made my college radio show basically a late night show. So I'd have like a live studio audience. So basically my show would not really work with a visual format unless it was like we had like a lot of resources, So if we did have like a TV show, then maybe we could make that work. But like it just made it easier to make it an audio medium. And it's also easier to just find. I mean, well, I guess there are the big thing with the visual thing is that you can get a lot of views somehow. I've noticed, David, some of the things that we did somehow have like 3,000 views. Like, who the hell is watching us talk? People are just watching us talk to each other. And we're not even in the same room.
No, it's true. It's true. You know what's crazy is that when we started, right? So and Chino, so pretty much we started off as audio. That was the first thing we did when we started Outlet to Reality. And then I would noticing a lot of my fans were saying, I kind of want to see your face reaction because I feel like it's funnier if I see how you laugh and you make a joke. And so I'm like, man, you know what? It's not a bad idea. I noticed it was more work because you have to edit it, make sure it's all good. And I was like, dang, but when I did it, I think we started doing like video way later. Like we're talking like probably couple episodes later.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing that was a whole controversy. I remember like I think you wanted me to post videos on there, and I was like, man, I don't want to edit all this stuff. So I'd send it to you, right? I'd send you the video, the Zoom video, whatever, the Zoom files, and then you'd pretty much post it online. And then eventually I just gave you the reins to everything.
Right.
Like the audio and the video. And then I think, I mean, you just found an easier way to just go from your file. You can just find it on your computer and then just put it on Spotify or whatever. Like it's the visual thing. It is a pretty good idea. I'm just not a big fan of that format. But
me neither, man. I don't like being on camera. Yeah. I personally am not like, this is cool now, but I don't want to be on camera all the time. I just want you to listen to what I have to say.
I want to pick my nose while I'm talking, and I just don't have the opportunity now. I want to wipe my ass while I'm talking. You know, I just can't do that. So I mean, it's just it's hard to be oppressed. That's what I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
So it's true. It's a lot of things is changing now. Like for sure, hands down. Like for those who don't know, Hami's been in the radio and podcast for a minute. I would say I consider him the OG, like the gangster, because for those who don't know, a little backstory, Hami mentored me how to start this podcast, what I have today. And it was, we did it together and he showed me. So a lot of times I had questions and I was trying to figure out what title to name it, and he will help me out. And I think really nice, and I recommend anybody, young, whoever it is, who is starting a podcast, to find somebody that you can trust and where you can grow. And I feel like that will be a big, because I'm gonna be honest, Hami, he taught me a lot of things. I'll never forget it. And my boy Chino too. Like one thing I noticed about Chino that made his podcast stand out was that he had music background in the beginning. Before
I had a theme song.
Chino started talking. Yeah, theme. I feel like it was catchy. So when I heard that, I was like, you know what? I knew something was missing with the podcast. So I went to GarageBand, made my own song. Now you hear the beginning with the piano, and I feel like now it feels like a podcast, hands down. And brother Chino, can you share a little bit on how you got that song? Because I love that song, by the way.
So when I started, and for people who actually followed my stuff, I haven't posted an episode since February of this year. Okay, and I'll get into that later, why I haven't posted episodes in a long time. But when I first started, I didn't want to just jump into it, right? Everyone, when they want to start something, they just want to jump into it and do it. But I wanted to make sure I got everything like exactly right. I wanted to make sure I have just the concept of how I wanted to do this, right? And so in my head, the way I wanted to do it was I wanted to always have a guest and talk to that person, because no one wants to hear. I don't think anyone wants to hear that, right? But I want to tell other people's stories, people who have really good stories that will captivate an audience, right? And so, but the way I envisioned it was I will record that episode and I'll do it through Zoom, right? Just like the way we're doing it now. But I wouldn't keep the visual. I would just keep that pure audio. I'll extract the audio, and I'll edit it a little bit anytime, just little parts that need to be edited, long pauses, stuff like that, simple things. I edit it. And then what I noticed that I like to do is right before the episode started, I wanted to give a quick background on what the episode was going to be about, right? So I would do the intro after filming the actual episode, so I know what I'm going to say, like, oh, this is the topic we're going to talk about today. This is the person, la, la, la. And then I just thought in between there would be a good idea to get a theme song. And so when I went to freelance. I just looked up freelancers on online, and I had someone do my my logo for the Spotify logo, and then I just I started looking into other people who do mixes and stuff, and I reached out to this one dude. I liked his his demos he had, and we worked together on making one. He just did it per how I wanted to. I gave him some ideas. We worked back and forth until I came with that one. I was like, oh, this is it. This is funky. I like it, and I kept it. And that's if you notice all my episodes, it starts with an intro, music, and then the episode.
Yeah, I think you went about it the right way. I mean, like, you actually went about it like in a way that some people, like, you actually thought it through, and some people don't really, like when I start a podcast, I don't think it through that much. Actually, I'm more of a jumper into it kind of guy. But having a guest is extreme. I thought having a guest is very important, and I was always a big fan of having guests. Like I said, my show was like a late night show, whatever. I'd have a fake studio audience who would hate me, and I'd also have guests who would, the fans loved and stuff like that. Fans who I'd always call my fans, who they really are my fans when David refers to his fans, but they're really my fans. Anyways, yeah. So like, I thought that was, I don't know, just doing it like different way. And you also knew what you wanted to do. You actually kind of had an idea what you wanted to do, because the first episodes that me and David did, we were just kind of talking about the pandemic, right? We initially called it like the pandemic files, something really? Like that. It was like the vault or something like that. Yeah, it was like an underground vault. And you guys can still find those episodes. Like, it's the first episodes of this podcast that you're watching now, so you guys check that out. But yeah, I remember thinking, like, at the time that we're recording, I was like, man, this is going to be in the dungeons, these episodes. And there's a lot of beauty in that. I actually like. Sometimes you'll have an episode where it's not your best. But those are the ones where, you really look back and you're just like, all right, what can I improve on next time? How can I avoid saying stuff like, and like, and stuff like that, like I'm doing right now. It's such a verbal tick, There it is.
It's so hard, man. I always catch myself thinking about that. Like, how many it pisses me off. I'm like, oh man, I've said that so many times.
Yeah, I get very mad. I appreciate that you actually put some time into like the thought, and you're just like, how am I going to make this right? And I want to do it my way. And like it sounds really good. And I haven't listened to it. I listened to a couple podcasts that you guys did together, but I haven't listened to your podcast yet. So I will.
Yeah, so that's the concept. That's the key word. Man, it was just
mindset's everything.
Mindset. There we go. Something I want to add though, like I think that's one of the difficult things for my podcast. That was, yes, I wanted to have a guest, so I always have something to talk about, something new. But man, if you don't know as many people like David, I find like, how the hell does he find guests so easily? Like, god damn, every week he's got someone new. For me, I'm like, I got to episode 7 and I ran out of people. I'm like, who the hell can I talk to? How do you do it, David?
That's the thing. Once you get to 7 or whatever, 7 or 10, you can reuse people. You can it's no problem, but you don't want to keep reusing the same people. It made it easier when I was in college, because I'd be telling people sometimes in class, where if I saw someone was interesting, maybe they did something interesting, I'd ask them to come on even for an hour, or like for a half hour or whatever. I've had David on a couple times, and I know David, he brought some of his friends over from NEIU, and like that was also really cool. And but it's hard, man. Getting guests is the hardest thing, because
it is.
Everyone always cancels. Everyone's always, like, no one cares about your schedule. Everyone cares about their own schedule. It's bullshit. I mean, it's like, it's like, where's the respect? Because some people will be like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, I'll be on tomorrow, 3:00, and then tomorrow 2:54 comes, and you text them, you don't hear back from them. And it's just like, it kind of rubs you the wrong way. It kind of pisses you off. It kind of makes you not want to talk to that person like again, or like not even want to have them back on the podcast or whatever. But I've had situations where people have made it up for me, and like they have come back, and their appearances were good and everything. But yeah, like getting the guests is the hard part. And I'm sure, David, you understand that now, like doing this for so long now.
We've talked about that, right?
I canceled last week.
Yeah. So he did cancel last week, but look,
I did cancel. I totally forgot a niece's birthday party. I swear.
There's a difference when you're genuine about it, or just when you just find something better to do. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Dude, I actually could have done it from the trampoline party place, whatever we were at, the trampoline bounce place. I could have done it from there. I mean, but I don't know if it would have been great.
No, they would have been flying. But look, I'm gonna tell y'all the secret on how I got the guests. I'm
go to Vegas.
Oh yeah, you could.
Yeah, so, you're bribing them. You're bribing them. I know you're doing. That's not ethical.
It's hard, man. It's a hard job. Not kidding, but look, here's the thing. So what I realized is that my theory is that if you volunteer at different groups, community service, if you try out like different spots, like a dance event, there might be a new martial arts class you've never tried. So I like to take the free classes. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? And I just go, or like I volunteer.
That's a really good idea.
No, for real. And honestly, it's been proven that if you do those kind of things, you're more likely to meet a lot of people. And that when I'm there, my goal is like in my head, I'm like, I gotta get at least 5 or 6 contents. And so I get a few people I meet info. And all of them, I tell them, hey, I really like your story where you share with me. I would love to have you on my podcast. And what's crazy is a lot of these people that I had no idea who they were, they happen to be a celebrity. Like I met a pro gamer who I didn't know she was big. I met like some actresses that were big and also like famous TikTokers. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right, in Vegas, but
must be nice,
right? But the thing is, you have to have that in your head, because the thing I realized, because I was struggling, I had the same problem. Like people were canceling, and I'm like, man, I really need an episode for next week. But with me, I was just going out, making sure it became like a ritual. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go out. I gotta meet some people, and honestly, I'm gonna be real. I put dating to the side. I was dating for a minute, but I was like, I'm gonna have to put up my baby girl. And I was just like, yo, I need the time, right? So another technique that really works, that I remember you did it once, Chino, too, when you messaged that he was like a famous singer. I think you had. He was in the famous throwback. I can't get the name.
Yeah. He's a guitarist for a band that was like famous a few years ago and stuff. And it was just more like finding like lost or people that you knew were famous at some point and, just have gone quiet and just have them tell their story. So, yeah, I just reached out to him. I sat him in the Instagram chat.
Can I ask which band?
Yeah, it was called All-Star Weekend. They used to be on like Disney Channel and stuff.
God. Yeah, I remember that band. Yeah. Now, I have not heard that band's like music, and I probably have, but I haven't heard it. Like I haven't heard of them. I've heard of them, but not in a long while,
Right. Yeah. And that was just the concept of it. I was like, I'm gonna try to shoot my shot and see if I can get anyone from like, I was just thinking of old kid shows, right? Like things I used to like, and like people who used to be like kid stars and stuff, and then just disappeared.
Yeah. So that's the thing too. Like that's a good technique, is DMing people that you like and hoping they'll respond. I'm gonna be realistic with y'all. I've messaged a lot of famous people, and it took them like maybe 6 or 8 months to reply back. So the moment they reply back, I respond right away, because I know I'm not gonna get another message for another 8 months. And so
David's still trying to get Kim Kardashian.
Right. Yeah, I agree. If you're hearing it, I want you on my show. But yeah, it's a very, very tricky thing. And also another thing that could help for you, Chino and Hami, I like to pick out people too that are my mentors. So like I had one of my professors, I don't know if you guys saw it, the bald guy, he talked about magic and Wicca. And that was a really cool episode. Hami actually saw it. He actually questioned and said, hey bro, you did a great job with that episode.
Did not see it. I heard it.
Oh, my bad.
There we go.
Was listening to it. I was listening. I don't watch podcasts. I listen.
Hami's true to the art, my man. That's all I'm saying. You got to be true to the art.
1.5. I was riding my bike around. I was like 1.5 speed. I was I'll just listen to this. And that episode was actually really good. This is what 2 weeks ago now it came out, maybe a week ago.
Yeah,
that was really good, man. I was at a point where I'd see you constantly posting this podcast, and I'd be like, David seems he's still doing this. It's really cool. And I've not listened to anything since I've left. So like I listened to this one episode, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually a really great episode. It's talking about just like a lot of like kind of thinking stuff, like sometimes we get in our own heads, we're overthinking stuff. And it kind of felt like that's what you two were doing to each other. You guys were just kind of talking, just having back and forth, but you guys were just having a conversation. And you guys were just talking about different things. I thought that was very interesting, talking about magic and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm a firm believer or whatever of magic, but I do believe in, I do believe in a sense of like energies and stuff like that. And, maybe karma. And and the idea of reincarnation, something about it is just really comforting to me. I don't know.
No, that's crazy. I was gonna ask you, would you guys be down to go to a haunted house where they have scary artifacts that have been cursed? Would y'all go into it?
I'm not into that stuff, man. It's like, I'm Hispanic, bro. And la brujería no se juega. Like I don't play with that shit, man. So no, I mean, I'm not. I believe in that stuff. Like, I'm gonna stick to myself. People want to call me, oh, you're a pussy or something. I don't care. I just don't want to mess with that shit personally.
Open season on the comments. You guys just go crazy on him. Seriously, we should actually go to a haunted house and scare the workers there.
That'll be kind of fun, man. I'll dress up.
What if we dressed up as the characters from the McDonald's show? Remember McDonald's used to have a show? So someone can be the Hamburglar, someone can be Ronald McDonald.
Oh, yeah.
Someone else can be the other person. One of the purple things.
Why? No, that'd be dope.
No, but you guys are talking about going to a haunted house. Yeah, I've gone to plenty of haunted houses, man. That's fine. I thought you meant like a house that was actually
is this like a real haunted house, or is this like one of those like fun Halloween? It's a Saturday.
Are you talking about like black magic voodoo type shit? Or are you talking about like, oh, we were just gonna go to a place Saturday night where everyone goes to for Halloween?
I think I saw a shadow there, but that might just be me, or is it one of those things, or is it like real? Like, I didn't close that door. Did someone close it? Which one is it?
No, it's the one that, like, for example, Vegas has one of the best haunted houses in the world. It's a museum, pretty much, not haunted house. It's a haunted museum. I guess best haunted in the country. That's the crazy part. And anybody can go. It doesn't have to be Halloween. And I'm a little scared because they did some reporters that were there who didn't believe in ghosts, and they came out crying, Joe. And dude, I talked to this. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I went to one of those haunted museums where it's just like artifacts of like evil stuff, and it was cool up until the end. Though, when we got to the end, man, they had like the I'm not into all that, but like the stars and stuff, and they had like the candle set up to do, and they some ritual, and I'm like, oh, I'm out of here. That's when I was like, this is too far for me.
I feel like horror is turning into that. It's just like it's the ritual culty thing. It's like ever since that movie, what's that movie called? The one that starts with a P.
Paranormal Activity.
It was not quite that one, but the one that's a little more recent. It came out a couple years ago. And
Poltergeist.
Not The Conjuring. Not either of those. Remember there's Midsummer. There's that movie Midsummer, but the movie before Midsummer. The one before that one, there was that scary movie, and it involved like a family and stuff like that. I keep forgetting the name. God damn.
Someone in the comments.
What is it? Is it on Netflix?
Look it up. It's the one before Midsummer, but it's by the same director, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I don't know, brother. We got to look in that. You got me and Chino. We're big in the film, man. We're failing this part.
It's a really good movie. But what's that?
No, I said me and Chino. We know a lot about movies, but we be failing.
Yeah, I'm actually looking it up right at this second. Okay, Midsummer. Prequel. I guess I'll just look up prequel. Hereditary. That's what it's called. Hereditary.
You told me it starts with a P, so I was like thinking of all.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought. Maybe I was thinking Paranormal Activity or whatever, but I actually was thinking Hereditary. But yeah, that was a really good movie. And the end of that movie was just like culty kind of weird ritual thing. Midsummer was like a lot of like ritual weird. And I was like, it's kind of tacky. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But maybe there's something there. Like maybe there's something there with that. Like that's probably why they do it. So maybe I'll take you up on that. I want to go to that haunted museum. I want to check it out. I want to say, I want to be that guy and be like, I'm not scared, No, I'm not that guy. I actually would be like, I'd be buying in. I'd be bought in. Like, I'm ready to get scared,
I'm gonna tell you,
but I don't want to go in with any expectations.
Well, look, real quick. This is crazy. I had a psychic lady come. I was, having a meeting, and this psychic lady came out of nowhere, and she was real sweet, real nice person. And she gave me her business card, and she told me she does psychic reading. And with the tarot cards, you know how they tell your future. And she says, I do palm reading too if you want me to do it. I was like, nah, I'm good, girl. Because the moment you tell me, I'm gonna believe it, and I'm not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
that all goes together. That's all that's all one business to them.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, I'm gonna be real. Like, look, you very nice, but I don't think I want to do it. But did ask her what she thought the haunted museum, the one in Vegas. She's like, here's one thing I could say. She's like, I recommend anybody who's trying to go in that thing. She's like, look, believe in the cross or whatever you believe in, pray before you go in, and then she's like, take a shower right when you come out. That's what she said. And I was like, dang. And then she's like, you just got to be careful because some of these artifacts that are very cursed, if you accidentally touch it, like let's say you kind of fell and you accidentally like hit it with your shoulder, that spirit, she said, could like stay with you with your clothing. And she's like, she's come home, you're pretty much stuck. But she's like, and at that point, you might have to see me every day. That's what she said, because I gotta cleanse you. And I'm like, dude, I ain't trying to do that thing, because my friends would be pranking on me, and I might trip, and I might hit one of those dolls. Because it's crazy. They have one artifact which I thought was really cool. I saw like the news report that went in. It was a Dybbuk box, which is a very famous Jewish folk tale that pretty much it's like a cabinet where it has some Hebrew letters. It says Shema, which means here. And whoever had it back in World War II, it was cursed, right? A bunch of they cursed it. They were playing like kind of like Ouija board, but it was like their own way in Germany. And it became well known, this thing, like every time someone touched it, they either had a stroke. It's a bad story, but it's famous, and it was called the possession. It had Yahu, one of the best reggae artists at that time, who was Jewish too. And it was the first movie, I would say, that wasn't the basic normal movie where they always have it like there's a priest trying to possess, who's trying to take out that demon outside of the child. So it was the first movie ever in the box office that was actually different. It was really cool because I'm like, yo, my people are getting hurt. You know what I'm saying?
We're listening to Halloween episode during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, brought to you by that. But man, but guys, we only got 5 minutes, so real quick, I want to talk about sports. So I want Hami to share about his story on how he met Steph Curry.
Minutes.
Dude, I know he said like in the beginning, like, bro, this is gonna take a long time. You give him 5 minutes,
but share it, bro. Spill the beans. I mean, I want to hear it too, brother. You know what I'm saying?
It's only 5. We only have 5 minutes for this. All right. Yeah. Basically, what happened was I was in Houston, Texas for a family friend's wedding, and the wedding was at the Four Seasons in Houston, which is a very beautiful hotel there. And it was the 2015 Western Conference Finals. So this is 6 years ago. The Rockets and the Warriors.
Right, was still on the Rockets.
Yeah. This was in between games 3 and 4, and the Warriors were up 2-0 at this point. No, maybe they're up 3-0 by this point because it was after game 3, and the Warriors won that game. And I go into the hotel, and right on my left, I see Draymond Green having a good laugh with all the Warriors staffers and the trainers, all those other, equipment manager people. And then coming on my right, walking towards our way, me and my brother, is Andre Iguodala and Steph Curry. Dope. And so these guys are both walking by, and I'm like, for one of my first thoughts is at the time I was wearing a Chicago Bulls shirt because, I got to rep my team, but one of my first thoughts is Iguodala is from Illinois. I'm like, should I make an Illinois reference? Should I make something like that? Like, you know what? Steph Curry's with him. I got to say something to Steph and just to both of them, just a general thing. So as they walk by, I'm like, I got to say something. I need to say something. Like, that's what I'm saying in my brain. It's like, I need to say something. These are my 2 favorite players, the last decade or whatever. And so they come by, and as they get closer, we make eye contact. And I was like, hey guys, big fan. And I just said, just get it done this year. That's all I said. Just get it done this year. I didn't want to be that guy for the picture and stuff like that. I didn't want to be that guy, And so Steph Curry gave me a peace sign, and he nodded his head. and that was one of the greatest moments of my life. And then Iguodala did something similar too. And then I also saw Klay Thompson. I said hello to him pretty much. And then weirdly enough, like later that night, we went to the bar area during this. So this was during the wedding. So the Warriors players, they're not in the wedding, but they're at the hotel, right? So they're walking around the hotel. There's a lot of personnel there. Story's way more than 5 minutes. We're gonna get cut off here. Anyways, so as I'm walking towards the bar, I see a lot of Warriors staffers, the GM of the Golden State Warriors,
Bob
the
Myers.
freaking owner of the team. Yeah, Bob Myers is the GM. The owner, Joe Lacob, who's kind of a douche. But yeah, Joe Lacob, who you always see him front row, at the Chase Center right now. But I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I see an assistant coach, this guy, Ron Adams, who used to be a Bulls assistant coach.
Really
so I
good.
thought that was so cool because he was a Bulls assistant coach when Derrick Rose was the MVP. So that's 10 years ago, So that was really cool. And like seeing those guys, and we were watching the Cavaliers play the Atlanta Hawks in those conference finals in the East. And I remember LeBron had a great game. He had like 40 points, 10 assists or whatever, 15 rebounds, classic LeBron game. I remember saying out loud at the bar, I was like, wow, that's like one of the great performances I've ever seen from LeBron. 40 points, it just looks like a standard performance. And the Warriors owner, Joe Lacob, says, I can't wait until we sweep them. And I was like, wow, this guy's really
before they won it, right? This is like 2015. They haven't won one yet.
This was right before they won their first championship. Yeah, this is right before they won their first championship, like weeks before, pretty much. And then I always think about that moment, though, the year later when they blew the 3-1 lead against the Cavaliers. I always think about that because I was like, man, I wonder what he was like, because that was a home game for the Golden State, too. That's a killer.
Yeah, no, that one must hurt.
Well, brother, let me wrap it up because I got 2 minutes to say it. So let me wrap it up. I mean, I want to talk so much.
3 minutes.
I'm sorry, brother. But wait. All right, this is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Y'all know where to find me. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching. I'm on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, the Outlet to Reality, my TikTok at the 8 and my Snapchat tech one pass it. And Chino, where can my fans find you?
He knows how to market himself, don't he? Man, right now you can just find me on right now you can just find me on Instagram, man. I haven't posted nothing on the podcast, but let's talk about you podcast on Spotify. Hope to provide some episodes soon. There's a lot going on in my life, but we'll get into that later. But what's up, man?
Okay. And what about you, Hami?
We got the Full Court Trap. Should be making a comeback soon with this NBA season's back. And yeah, we'll probably do it once every 2 weeks or something like that. And we're on Spotify.
I want in.
Yeah, so I want to get you guys against each other. Actually, I think that'd be fun to see Chino dominate David.
Barbecue chicken.
No, but like, if we, assuming we do this, it will be trivia based on your guys' interests. Yeah, so we'll have